Hi, it's Kim Boon. Many of you have asked what we're going to be doing at Red Dot Perspective with the conclusion of GE 2025. Next week onwards, we're going to be talking about issues that matter to Singaporeans. And this will continue to include politics as well as current affairs and news. And I hope that we can be a community that is complementary to the mainstream media, where we can openly discuss novel and alternative viewpoints that are backed with facts and numbers. So that's it, let's get to our topic of the day. So Dr. Chee Soon Juan came so close to being in Parliament. I think this came as a shock to many camps, and there were those that were surprised by how close he came, and there were others that couldn't believe how he didn't manage to win. And when we look at the GE 2025 results, it may seem like the difference was close, but still quite a gap of 6% in order for Dr. Chee to have been elected MP. But the real lost opportunity here was for Dr. Chee Soon Juan to be an NCMP and finally have a voice in Parliament for the first time in his political career. So how close was Dr. Chee really in realizing that reality? We know that there are 2 NCMP seats up for grabs, so those are going to be going to the top 2 constituencies. From the table of best losers from GE 2025, you can see that the Workers' Party will have first dibs on those 2 seats. In order for Dr. Chee to have qualified for the second highest vote share, he would have needed to get at least 47.38%. The actual results in Sembawang West saw Dr. Chee getting 46.81% of the votes. In order for him to be the second best loser, he would have needed an additional 129 votes. And there were also 269 spoiled votes in Sembawang West, and 5.8% of residents did not vote, which was around 1,400 votes. If Dr. Chee had 244 from these sources, he would have also been the second best loser. To give you some context, the contest in Jalan Kayu was separated by 404 votes in order to flip the PAP win. In Sembawang West, no matter how you look at it, the numbers are so agonizingly close, you cannot help but feel for the man. Now, let's take into the key events that led to the way things landed. Let's start with quite literally the elephant in the room.
Every morning in school, we recite the pledge and we say regardless of race, language, or religion. Yesterday, Gigene Wong appallingly used the K word, amongst other things. For us, minorities, the honest truth is that such remarks are not new. And no, it is not casual racism because there's nothing casual about racism. I can accept that there was no malice, but intention is irrelevant when it comes to such matters.
At the rally last night, I used a term which was very offensive to my fellow candidate, Arifin, and the Indian community at large. I'm deeply sorry for what I have said.
In a single rally speech, Ms. Wong managed to use a racial slur on a teammate, gave him a dubious nickname, and begged for votes so that she wouldn't lose her election deposit. The damage that Ms. Wong caused was multifaceted to say the least. And Dr. Chee already had baggage from the past, and he recruited Mr. Arifin Shah, whom some may say is controversial, as the co-founder of Wake Up Singapore. Now you have another candidate that is scoring own goals. Those are not good looks for SDP's credibility and speaks to their inability to recruit good candidates. And this was unfortunate because with the PAP and WP having suffered in their HR department in the last election cycle, this could have been a differentiating factor for the SDP. That said, did Ms. Gigene Wong's scuffle impact SDP's odds? In my opinion, absolutely. I made this conclusion by looking at SDP's performance in GE 2025 for their more generic fights in Sembawang and Marsiling UT GRCs. I say generic because there's a lack of candidate-specific factors like Dr. Paul Tambyah's healthcare expertise and Dr. Chee Soon Juan's political history. First thing that I did look at was the average vote share for each political party. You should know there are excluded data points where the parties did not get their deposits back or if their presence did not materially impact the results. So this is a bit messy, so I have consolidated it into a simple list here. In GE 2025, SDP secured around 26% and 30% of the votes in Marsiling UT and Sembawang GRCs respectively. You can very quickly see how this result fits into the overall opposition performance. The SDP barely beat the independent candidates and got outvoted by the Singapore Democratic Alliance. Now, I look at the performance from a longitudinal way to compare election on election. Let's look at Sembawang GRC. In GE 2020, the NSP team achieved 32.71% of the votes. In GE 2025, we know that the PAP managed to grow their overall mandate by an average of 4% across constituencies. So if the same NSP team had competed this year against a team also anchored by Minister Ong Ye King, we would expect the result to be around 28%. And in GE 2025, the SDP team that competed in Sembawang is arguably quite plain vanilla, similar to the NSP team in GE 2020, and the SDP team managed to get 29.93% of the votes. Surely the brand premium of SDP versus NSP cannot just be 1.55%. Therefore, it lends to the point that there must be some sort of systemic demium that's at play here. And what's more systematically damaging to the SDP than the Gigene Wong incident in GE 2025? So my thinking is that the damage that we saw to the GRCs that SDP competed in, there will be some degree of that also happening in Dr. Tambyah's bid in Bukit Panjang, which I discussed in another video in the description, and Dr. Chee Soon Juan's contest in Sembawang West. And when the votes are separated by around 6% in the latter, the Gigene Wong factor is very real. But beyond the numbers, I wanted to also discuss something even more remarkable. For many millennials and older Singaporeans, most of us grew up thinking that Dr. Chee Soon Juan was some crazy person. And to understand why that's the case, we have to look at his political history. But this is not a history channel, so I think the essence can be captured by two moments in history.
To me, opposition means that we have to be honorable. On the opposition, we must be honest and not dishonest. To me, the opposition must be truthful and not be liars and cheats. Above all, in the opposition, we must be good patriotic Singaporeans. We must not go around the world denouncing Singapore. Yes. Singapore must have a good, responsible and effective opposition. That is the aim. It saddens me that the SDP is now run by a megalomaniac.
Mr. Go, come here, Mr. Go. I want to talk with you. Come here. Where is the money, Mr. Go? You can run, but you cannot hide. I asked Mr. Go to stop. He took $17 billion. 1998, you cannot run away. Okay? 17 billion. Mr. Go, come. Answer the people. You are accounting to the people. You are accounted to our people. Where is the money?
How someone with that kind of political history managed to almost turn things around in GE 2025, I think it is an analysis that is fascinating as much as it is intriguing. So in one of my GE 2025 videos, I talked about the effectiveness of negative politics. In that video, I discussed that Minister Ong Ye King's use of negative messaging was ineffective and in fact had the opposite effect of enhancing Dr. Chee's reputation.
These are things that it's a silly season for PAP, right? When they find that they cannot talk about the issues, when they cannot talk about the policies, they start making, attacking the person. I just think that voters have had enough of these things already, and they want to see a good debate, a good contest, but on the policies, on what affects them.
So instead of branding him as having abandoned Bukit Batok, I thought that Dr. Chee's measured response presented him as an elder statesman, almost a 180-degree rehabilitation of his former reputation. And to support this finding, I saw a CNA article today where PAP activists highlighted the prominent strategies that they believed helped to deliver the strong mandate for PAP. One of the reasons? PAP refrained from personal attacks to focus on big picture issues. Clearly, the PAP did not deploy this strategy in Sembawang, and the persistent negative messaging almost backfired on them, with Dr. Chee garnering close to half of the vote shares. Also, I thought the negative messaging backfired for another reason. The fact that Dr. Chee had to allegedly abandon, and I use the word loosely, Bukit Batok was due to the boundary changes effected by the EBRC. While I understand that the committee is non-partisan in nature, there are people who have leveled criticism on the boundary decisions over the years. And any rational person would understand that Dr. Chee couldn't have contested in the SMC that he has invested more than a decade in. So to then have a prominent PAP candidate accuse Dr. Chee of abandonment from circumstances that could be perceived as having originated by the accuser, that I thought turned Dr. Chee from the antagonist that he was to the protagonist in GE2025. Next, I thought that Dr. Chee had a unique calculus when it came to evaluating potential MPs. Again, I highlight the prominent strategies quoted by PAP activists in the CNA article. They claimed that PAP's success was attributed to doubling down on municipal and constituency issues. I agree with the assessment, because we saw this incumbent advantage play out very prominently with grassroots-focused MPs like Mr. Liang Ying-Hua in Bukit Panjang, Ms. Sun Xueling in Punggol, Mr. Bae Yam King in Tampines, among others. Now, at first glance, you're going to wonder, Dr. Chee had zero grassroots mileage in Sembawang West SMC. Didn't he spend the last decade or so walking the grounds only in Bukit Batok? Exactly, because voters are not only looking at actual actions on the ground. What they are looking for at the most fundamental level is whether an MP is there that cares for them. They don't want an MP that says, "Hello, how are you?" during elections, and then say, "Hello, who are you?" after the elections. So Dr. Chee, given his well-publicized grassroots efforts in Bukit Batok, and also thanks to the attack ads from his opponents, it actually helped to propagate the positive story of Dr. Chee, that he is there for the long haul. That proxy for grassroots engagement, which is wholly unique to Dr. Chee, was what I felt differentiated himself in Sembawang West. And I was not able to fully comprehend the extent that his opponent, Ms. Polly Shan, was involved at the grassroots, but I'm going to guess that the playing field must have been at least quite even going into the voting booths. At the parliamentary level, I did not think that Ms. Poh was particularly outstanding compared to other PAP backbenchers, so there were some elements of advantage to Dr. Chee, given his general outspoken nature and his propensity to voice out on key issues. And even though not every one of his ideas was going to be perfect, comparatively to his opponent, he was clearly more parliamentary, so to speak. So when we put everything together, this is how I think the Sembawang West calculus landed. When evaluating a candidate, residents care about whether the MP will be there for them and get things done for them. I thought that was a draw across both candidates, even though they fulfilled that evaluation in very different ways. Residents also expect the candidates to have parliamentary potential and qualities, which I felt that Dr. Chee had a perceived edge. Then beyond the candidates, there were systemic modifiers that came into play. While PAP's Ms. Poh benefited from the general flight to safety team that PAP deployed, Dr. Chee was besieged by the stinging Gigene Wong incident. And when all came to pass, we saw the result that we did, a marginal loss for Dr. Chee and many questions of what could have been. Well, that's all we have for today. What are your thoughts about Dr. Chee Soon Juan and the SDP? Do let us know in the comments section. And if you like the way we covered GE2025, you should know that I will continue to use this style to cover politics and current affairs starting next week. So until then, I'll see you all at the next Red Dot Perspective.